December 15th dawned in the town of Willow Creek with that milky white light that foreshadows a snowfall, the kind that paralyzes traffic and forces people to rethink their life choices. For most of the inhabitants, snow was synonymous with joy, sleds, and hot chocolate. For Sophie Bennett, owner of the tea and antiques shop The Copper Kettle, snow was synonymous with people entering her premises with dirty boots and leaving puddles of brown water on her freshly waxed oak floor. Sophie, 42 years old, a Virgo rising in "Don't touch that if you're not going to buy it," was behind the counter adjusting the position of a Darjeeling First Flush tea tin. The label was crooked 2 millimeters to the right. Sophie corrected it. The universe was back in balance. Perfect. The outside world might be a chaos of blaring carols and blinking lights that induce epilepsy. But in here, in my kingdom, everything has a place and a label. The shop smelled of a comforting and expensive blend: bergamot, cinnamon sticks, antique furniture wax, and that subtle scent of old book dust that for Sophie was better than any French perfume. At her feet, in a Scottish tartan bed, slept Sherlock, her basset hound, a dog who had been named after the world's greatest detective but possessed the deductive capacity of a boiled potato. The doorbell rang. Not the cheerful jingle of a customer, but the sharp knock of the postman, Mr. Peterson. "Mail, Sophie," he said, shaking the snow off his hat. "And a package." No return address. Sophie frowned. She hated packages without return addresses. They were unknown variables in her daily equation. "Leave it on the counter, please. And watch out for the Ming vase. It's a replica, but an expensive replica." When the postman left, Sophie stood looking at the box. It was small, wrapped in dark red paper, with a velvety texture that screamed luxury. The ribbon was gold silk, tied with a perfection that made Sophie's fingers itch with professional envy. "What do you think, Sherlock?" she asked. "Bomb or bribe?" Sherlock sighed without opening his eyes. Sophie grabbed a pair of silver scissors because one does not open a mysterious package with one's teeth, and cut the silk. She removed the paper. It was a black lacquered wooden box. Upon opening it, she found a Christmas ornament. But it wasn't just any ornament. It was hand-blown glass, incredibly delicate, painted with a winter scene. A little girl, in a red coat, looking into a shop window full of teas. Sophie felt a shiver run down her spine. That little girl looked like her. It looked like her 35 years ago when she stared at the window of this very shop before it was hers. Under the ornament was a note. Thick cream-colored paper. Elegant, angular, masculine handwriting. For the guardian of aromas. Because some memories deserve to be preserved in glass, not just in memory. "Happy beginning, Sophie." There was no signature. Sophie dropped the note as if it burned. Okay, let's analyze. This is pretty objectively pretty. But it's also incredibly specific. Who knows what I looked like as a child? Who knows this window was my obsession? Do I have a nostalgic admirer, or has someone been going through my family photo albums while I sleep? She looked through her shop window toward the snowy street. People hurried by. No one looked inside. Except for one person. Across the street, in the old building that had been abandoned for years, there was movement. Someone was in the second-floor window. A man. Sophie adjusted her glasses. It was the new tenant. The one who had arrived a week ago. Gabriel. Sophie only knew 3 things about him. 1. His name was Gabriel Blackwood. 2. He was 30 years old, although his cynical gaze sometimes made him seem older. And his physical energy sometimes made him seem like a dangerous 20-something. 3. He always wore black and had a stare so intense that the day he showed up at the shop to buy coffee, and Sophie had to tell him with disdain that she sold tea, not dirty water made of burnt beans. She had felt naked under 3 layers of wool. Gabriel was there, in the window, with a mug in his hand. He was watching her, directly at her. When he saw that Sophie had detected him, he didn't wave, he didn't smile. He simply raised his mug a few inches in a silent toast and disappeared behind a heavy velvet curtain. "Sherlock," Sophie said, feeling the knot in her stomach tighten, "I think we have a problem. And the problem has dark eyes and lives across the street." Before we continue with this story, just a quick reminder that if you enjoy cozy romantic stories you can listen to at a relaxed pace, you can subscribe. So there will always be a new story waiting for you. 2 days passed. The snow kept falling with that passive-aggressive persistence of winter in the north. Sophie had tried to rationalize the first gift. Maybe it's from a distant aunt with senile dementia and a lot of money, she told herself. Or a grateful customer who has a good photographic memory. But then the second package arrived. It appeared at the back door of the shop, the one leading to the alley, when Sophie arrived at 7 in the morning to bake scones. It was a larger box, same dark red paper, same gold silk ribbon. Sophie brought it inside, double-locking the door. She put it on the kitchen table. Don't open it, Sophie. Call the police or the fire department or an exorcist. No, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Let's look. She opened the box. It was a music box, antique, walnut wood, with mother-of-pearl inlays forming constellations. Sophie lifted the lid. The mechanism, perfectly oiled, began to turn. The melody was Greensleeves. Sophie sank into a chair. It wasn't just a Christmas song. It was the song. The song she hummed unconsciously when she was stressed. The song she whistled while organizing tea tins. The song that she was sure she had never sung in public. There was another note. The silence of your shop is beautiful, but your internal music is better. I hear what you don't say, Sophie. Sophie slammed the lid shut, silencing the music. I hear what you don't say, she repeated aloud. That's not romantic. That's creepy. That's from someone who has microphones in my flower pots. She got up and started frantically checking the tea tins, lifting chair cushions, looking behind paintings. Sherlock, look for bugs. Search. Sherlock looked at her from his bed, yawned showing an endless tongue, and went back to sleep. Clearly, counter-espionage was not his forte. Sophie needed air. And answers. She put on her coat, armed herself with courage, and a pepper spray she had carried in her purse since 2005, and crossed the street. She went straight to Gabriel's building. She rang the buzzer. Yes? The voice sounded metallic, deep. It's Sophie, from across the street. I need to talk to you, now. There was a silence. Come up, second floor. The door is open. Sophie climbed the creaky wooden stairs, feeling like she was entering the Wolf's den. Or the vampires, or the sexy and possibly psychopathic architects. The apartment door was ajar. Sophie pushed it open. The place was impressive and disconcerting. There was no furniture, other than a huge drafting table and an ergonomic chair. The walls were covered in blueprints. Blueprints of the town. Blueprints of historic buildings. And in the center of the drafting table, Gabriel. He was in shirt sleeves, with his sleeves rolled up, showing strong forearms. He had reading glasses on and a pencil behind his ear. Despite being 30 years old, there was an authority in his posture that intimidated. He turned when she entered. His dark eyes scanned her up and down with that laser precision that made her nervous. Sophie, he said, his voice in person was even deeper. It vibrated in the wooden floor. To what do I owe the honor? Have you come to bring me tea? I've come to ask you what the hell is going on, Sophie said, crossing her arms. And don't play dumb. I know you're watching me. Gabriel arched an eyebrow. He took off his glasses slowly. I am watching you, he admitted without blinking. Sophie ran out of air. You admit it? Just like that? It's hard not to watch you, Sophie. Your shop is the only thing with color on this gray street. And you are an interesting study in movement. That way you correct the tea tins every morning at 9:05, or how you scold the dog at 11:30. You are a Swiss watch and a wool coat. Sophie felt herself blushing, a mix of indignation and dottery. No, indignation. Definitely indignation. That is stalking, Gabriel, and the gifts. The Christmas ornament, the music box. How do you know about the song? Do you have microphones in my shop? Gabriel frowned. He seemed genuinely confused. Gifts? What gifts? Don't play with me. The red boxes. The cryptic notes about hearing what I don't say. Gabriel stood up. He was tall, very tall. He walked toward her, and Sophie had to fight the urge to back away. Sophie, I watch you because I am an architect and I am redesigning the facade of this building, and your shop is my visual reference point. I look at you because you are intense, but I haven't sent you any gifts. He looked her in the eyes and Sophie activated her Virgo lie detection radar. She looked for the nervous tick, the evasive glance, the sweat. Nothing. Gabriel was as calm as a frozen lake. If it's not you, double quote, Sophie murmured, feeling a new kind of cold. Then who is it? And why do they know what song I hum when I'm alone? Gabriel took a step closer. His expression changed. The mockery disappeared, replaced by something sharper, concern. Is someone sending you gifts that prove they are spying on you? Yes, and they are expensive and cozy. They are designed to lower my defenses. Gabriel looked at the blueprints on his table. Then he looked back at her. Sophie, I think you should be careful. Willow Creek is a small town, but secrets here have long roots. And if someone is wooing you with private information isn't an admirer. That is a data collector. Thanks for the diagnosis, Sherlock Holmes, she snapped, defensive. I can take care of myself. I know. But be careful, Gabriel lowered his voice. Sometimes, gifts aren't to give you something. They are to buy your trust before asking for something in return. Sophie left the apartment with her heart beating 1,000 miles an hour. Gabriel hadn't been the admirer, which was a relief. But it also meant the real observer was still out there, invisible. And that Gabriel, the intense 30-year-old neighbor, was now her only connection to reality. The third gift arrived on December 20th. Sophie was serving Mrs. Higgins, the town's biggest source of gossip and a voracious consumer of chamomile tea, when a courier entered with an elongated box for Miss Bennett. Sign here. Mrs. Higgins stretched her neck like a curious turtle. Oh, Sophie, another package. Is it from that secret boyfriend everyone is talking about? I don't have a secret boyfriend, Mrs. Higgins, Sophie said, signing forcefully. It's inventory, supplies, tea bags. That box is very elegant for tea bags, dear. It looks like it's from a boutique. Sophie waited for Mrs. Higgins to leave, which took 20 agonizing minutes of chatting about the weather and her husband's gout before opening the box. Red paper, gold ribbon, inside, a scarf. But not just any scarf. It was pure cashmere, in a very specific teal blue color. The same color Sophie's eyes turned if you looked at them under the right light. And it was hand-knitted. Sophie could see the small human imperfections in the stitches. Someone had taken hours, days to knit this, the note to protect you from the cold. I know you hate the drafts in the warehouse and that you always complain your neck gets cold when you do inventory. Let me warm you, Sophie. See you soon. Sophie dropped the scarf on the counter. They know about the warehouse, she whispered. They know I complain about the cold. Sherlock, this isn't funny anymore. This is expert-level invasion of privacy. The shop door opened. It was Gabriel. He was wearing a long black coat and carrying a folder under his arm. I saw the courier, he said, without preamble. Another gift? Sophie pointed to the scarf with a gesture of her chin, unable to speak. Gabriel approached. He touched the wool with expert fingers. Cashmere, hand-knitted, English knot. This takes time, Sophie. A lot of time. They know about the warehouse, Gabriel. They know I get cold back there. No one enters my warehouse. Only me, and... Well, the plumber who came in November. Gabriel looked at the note. His jaw tightened. See you soon. That is an escalation. It's moving from observation to intent to contact. Are you trying to scare me? Because I already am? I'm trying to get you to be realistic. Gabriel looked at her. Sophie, do you have enemies? Debts? Any resentful ex-boyfriend who learned to knit? I own a tea shop in a town where the biggest thrill is the giant pumpkin contest. My enemies are moths and humidity. I don't have dark pasts. We all have dark pasts, Gabriel said, grimly. Or futures someone wants to control. He looked around the shop. You know what's weird? These gifts, they are cozy. They are homey. They aren't threatening in the traditional way. They are seductive. Whoever it is, they want you to feel cared for. They want to create an emotional dependency before revealing themselves. It's a manipulator, Sophie concluded. Or someone who thinks they are saving you, Gabriel said. Saving me from what? My life is perfect. I have my business, my useless dog, and my tea tins organized alphabetically. I don't need to be saved. Gabriel looked at her a second longer than necessary. Was there something in his eyes, respect? Pity? Sometimes, Sophie, the danger isn't that they attack you. It's that they pull the rug out from under you without you noticing. He headed to the door. I'm going to investigate something. Stay inside. Lock the door, and if another package arrives, don't open it alone. Call me. Why are you helping me, Gabriel? You're the grumpy neighbor who hates my tea. Gabriel stopped with his hand on the doorknob. Because I hate mysteries I can't solve, and because ... Well, I like how your nose wrinkles when you're scared but trying to look brave. He left, leaving Sophie alone with a cashmere scarf that cost more than her car and a growing feeling that her orderly life was about to explode. December 22nd was the night of the winter festival in the town square. Attendance was mandatory if you owned a business. Sophie had to set up a hot tea stall. She was serving a chai latte to the mayor when she noticed someone leaving something on the back table. Where she kept her reserves, she turned quickly. She only saw a back moving away through the crowd. A back in a common gray coat. It could be anyone. On the table was a book, wrapped in red paper. No ribbon this time. As if the admirer was in a hurry. Sophie tore the paper right there, her fingers numb from the cold. It was a first edition of Jane Eyre. Sophie's heart skipped a beat. Jane Eyre was her favorite book. But not just any edition. This specific edition, the one with green cloth covers from 1910, was the one her father used to read to her before he died. The one she had to sell 10 years ago to pay her mother's hospital bills. She opened the cover, trembling. There it was. On the first page, her father's bookplate, Library of Arthur Bennett. It was her book, her lost book. The note fell to the ground. Sophie crouched to pick it up. Recovering the past is the first step to securing the future. I have bought your memories, Sophie, so I can return them to you. But everything has a price. And the price of this book is ... trust. Trust me when everything changes tomorrow. Sophie felt the world spinning. He bought my memories, she whispered. How? Where did he find it? Sophie. Gabriel appeared at her side, emerging from the crowd like a protective shadow. He saw her pale face. He saw the book. Is it another one? He asked, tense. Sophie put the book in his hands. It's my father's book. I sold it to an antique dealer in the city a decade ago. Gabriel isn't a local admirer. This is someone with resources. Someone who has tracked my sales, my history. Gabriel examined the book. Then he read the note. His expression darkened. Trust me when everything changes tomorrow, he read. That is a warning. Sophie, something is going to happen tomorrow. What? Is he going to kidnap me? No, I think it's something financial. Or legal. I have bought your memories. Gabriel looked around the square, scanning the happy faces, the lights, the carols. Sophie, listen to me, I've been investigating. I looked at the property records for your shop's building. Sophie blinked. Why? Because I'm an architect, it's what I do. And because I had a suspicion. The building where the Copper Kettle is located ... was sold a week ago. Sophie felt the ground open up. What? No, my landlord, Mr. Miller, would have told me. I have a contract. Your contract expires on December 31st. The building has been sold to a corporation, a shell company. Red Ball Holdings. Lazo Rojo, Sophie translated, looking at the crumpled wrapping paper on the ground. Red Ball. Oh my God. The puzzle pieces clicked together with a terrifying snap. The admirer isn't a lover, Sophie said, her voice strangled. It's the new owner. It's someone who is buying me. He's sending me gifts to soften the blow. So that when he kicks me out or raises the rent 300%, I what? Be grateful? Or to manipulate you, Gabriel said. Sophie, this is a hostile takeover disguised as a Christmas romance. It's twisted. Sophie felt fury replacing fear. The cold, calculating fury of a Virgo whose order has been violated. No one buys me, she hissed. And no one kicks me out of my shop. She grabbed the book from Gabriel's hands. I'm going to find out who is behind Red Bow Holdings. And when I find him, I'm going to shove this book down his throat. Metaphorically, or maybe literally. Depends on how angry I get. I'll help you, Gabriel said. Why? You've already done enough scaring me with the sale. Because, Gabriel took her hand. His fingers were hot, firm. Because you are the only authentic thing in this postcard town. And because you owe me a coffee. A real coffee, not that dirty water you sell. Sophie, despite the panic and rage, felt a small spark of heat in her chest. It's tea, you Philistine. And it's a deal. What a twist. Did you think it was just romance? Welcome to the dark side of Christmas. If you're feeling the tension and want to know who is hiding behind the red bow, hit that like button right now. It's the only way to help Sophie keep her cool. Subscribe so you don't miss the ending, because I assure you, Christmas Eve is going to be explosive. Who do you think the mysterious buyer is? Leave your theories in the comments. December 24th arrived with a snowstorm that closed the roads. Willow Creek was isolated. Sophie and Gabriel had spent the last 24 hours in detective mode. They had tracked the shell company, but it was a maze of fake postal addresses. Sophie was in her shop, closed to the public. She was sitting on the floor, surrounded by the gifts, the ornament, the music box, the scarf, the book. Sherlock was sleeping on the cashmere scarf, oblivious to the capitalist drama. It's someone who knows me, Sophie said, pacing back and forth. Someone who knows about the book. Someone who knows about my childhood. Gabriel was leaning on the counter, reviewing papers on his laptop. Sophie, there's a coincidence I don't like. Which one? The date of the building sale coincides with the day the first gift arrived. December 15th. Whoever signed the purchase sent the package immediately. At that moment, the doorbell rang. There was no one outside, but a white envelope slid under the door. Sophie ran to open it. The street was deserted due to the storm. She picked up the envelope. It didn't have a red ribbon. It was a legal envelope. She opened it with trembling hands. It was a property deed and a key, an antique iron key. Sophie read the document. Transfer of property. Commercial premises located at 4 Main Street. In favor of Sophie Bennett. Sophie stopped breathing. Gabriel ... He approached and read over her shoulder.
He gave you the shop, Gabriel said, stunned.
He's not kicking you out. He bought it for you. There was a final note. The game ends today, Sophie. It was never a conspiracy to hurt you. It was a plan to give you security. I know you hate surprises, but this was necessary. I couldn't tell you I was buying the building until the deal was closed, in case it failed. I didn't want to give you hope and then take it away. The gifts were clues that someone knows you, values you, and wants to protect your world. Come to the old mill at midnight. I will give you the final answer. Sophie sank into a chair. He gave me the building. I'm the owner. No one can kick me out anymore. It's the most extravagant and crazy gift I've ever seen, Gabriel said. But there was something odd in his voice. Tension. I have to go to the mill, Sophie said, standing up. I have to know who it is. Is it an eccentric millionaire? Is it ... fake his death? No, that's stupid. Sophie, don't go, Gabriel said, blocking her path. It's dangerous. The old mill is in ruins, and this person has shown they are obsessive. They bought you a building without consulting you. That is control, not love. It's the control I need, she retorted. It's security.
It's my shop, Gabriel, my life.
I have to go. I'm going with you. No, the note says to go alone. If you go, maybe he won't show up. I'm not letting you go alone to a ruined building in the middle of a storm with a millionaire stalker. Gabriel grabbed her shoulders. Sophie, think about it. Who has that much money and that much knowledge of you? Sophie looked him in the eyes. And suddenly a horrible doubt assaulted her. You, she whispered. You are an architect. You knew about the building sale before anyone. You live across the street. You watch me. Gabriel let go of her shoulders as if they had burned him. You think it's me? You have money. Your apartment is empty, as if you didn't plan to stay. You have blueprints of the whole town. And you knew exactly what to say to scare me about the sale. I was protecting you. Or were you manipulating me to trust you and then reveal yourself as the savior? Sophie backed away. It's the perfect Scorpio plan, isn't it? Create chaos to then be the hero. Sophie, you're delusional. It's not me. I don't have that money. I'm a 30-year-old architect running from his own rich family, not someone who uses money to buy people. I don't believe you. Stay here. I'm going to the mill. Sophie went out into the storm, leaving Gabriel with an expression of pain and frustration that would have broken the heart of anyone not in panic mode. The path to the old mill was a nightmare of wind and snow. Sophie arrived frozen, the iron key clutched in her hand. The mill was dark. Only one light shone inside. Sophie pushed the door. The interior was decorated. There were candles everywhere, hundreds of candles. And the smell of tea, Earl Grey. In the center of the room, there was a figure with his back turned, looking toward the broken window. A man in an elegant coat. "Who are you?" Sophie shouted, her voice broken by cold and fear. "Why are you doing this?" The man turned around. It wasn't Gabriel. It was an older man, white hair, kind but tired face. Sophie blinked, she knew him. It was Mr. Abernathy, the antique seller from the market. The man who had sold the snow globe to Charlotte from the other video shared universe. "Hello, Sophie," he said, smiling sadly, "Mr. Abernathy." Sophie lowered her guard, confused. "You? But you sell trinkets at the market." "I sell memories, dear. And sometimes I invest in futures." Abernathy walked toward her. "I'm not just a seller, Sophie. Many years ago, I was your father's partner. Before he lost everything, before you were born. I promised him that if I ever succeeded, I would take care of you. But life took me far away. I made a fortune abroad, came back recently. And found you." Sophie was trembling. "My father? He loved that shop. And I saw how you fought for it. When I learned Miller was going to sell the building to a coffee chain, I couldn't allow it. I bought the building. But I couldn't just show up and say, 'Hi, I'm your dead father's secret partner, take a building.' It would have been too much." "So you staged all this theater," Sophie said, feeling the adrenaline drop and give way to exhaustion. "The gifts. The cryptic notes. I wanted you to remember who you are before giving you the final gift. The ornament for your childhood. The music for your soul. The book for your history. The scarf. Well, it is very cold in your warehouse, that is true. I watch you from my stall at the market." Sophie sank onto a wooden bench. She started to laugh. A hysterical, liberating laugh. "I thought it was a stalker. I thought it was Gabriel. I almost ripped my neighbor's head off." "Ah, the young architect," Abernathy smiled. "Good boy. He came to see me yesterday. He threatened to call the police if I didn't stop stalking you. I had to show him the purchase papers to calm him down. He knew it was me. But I made him promise not to tell you until tonight." Sophie stopped laughing. "Gabriel knew? Since yesterday?" "Since yesterday, but he didn't want to ruin my surprise. And I think he wanted to make sure I was harmless before letting you come." Sophie stood up abruptly. "I have to go. I have to apologize to an idiot dressed in black." "The building is yours, Sophie," Abernathy said. "Merry Christmas." "Thank you, Arthur." "I mean, to Abernathy, thank you for saving my world. You saved that world alone, dear. I just paid the mortgage." Sophie ran back to town. The storm was subsiding. She arrived at the Copper Kettle. The door was open. She entered. Gabriel was there. He was sitting on the floor, petting Sherlock. He had made tea. The smell of bergamot filled the shop. He stood up when he saw her enter. He looked tired, but his 30 years didn't hide the concern in his eyes. "Was it Abernathy?" he asked. "You knew," Sophie said, breathless. "You knew it was him, and you let me go scream at you. I promised to keep his secret. And I knew you needed to face the mystery alone to believe it. If I had told you, you would have thought it was part of the trap. You are a suspicious Virgo, Sophie. You need to see the data." Sophie approached him. She took off the cashmere scarf, Abernathy's gift, and left it on the counter. "I am an idiot," she said. "I have a building. I have a recovered past. And I have a neighbor who faced a millionaire to protect me and whom I accused of being a psychopath. Well, technically, I am a little bit of a psychopath. I like burned coffee and I live in a house without furniture." Gabriel smiled. That lopsided, arrogant smile that had annoyed Sophie so much the first day, and that now seemed like the safest thing in the world. "Why did you care so much?" she asked, taking another step. Gabriel shrugged. "Because your shop is the only thing with color on my gray street, and because Well, I like how your nose wrinkles when you try to control chaos." Sophie didn't think about it. Chaos had won. Order was overrated. She approached and kissed him. Gabriel stiffened for a second, surprised, and then returned the kiss with the same intensity with which he drew his blueprints. It was a kiss that tasted of tea, snow, and forgiveness. Gabriel stiffened for a second, surprised, and then returned the kiss with the same intensity with which he drew his blueprints. It was a kiss that tasted of tea, snow, and forgiveness. When they separated, Sherlock barked, demanding attention. "Merry Christmas, Sophie," Gabriel said, resting his forehead against hers. "Now that you own the building, may I suggest some renovations?" "The warehouse insulation is terrible," Sophie laughed. "Shut up and kiss me again, and then I'll treat you to a tea." "But no coffee in my shop." "Shut up and kiss me again, and then I'll treat you to a tea." "But no coffee in my shop." "Deal." Outside, the snow continued to fall, covering Willow Creek in white. But inside the Copper Kettle, between the scent of cinnamon and the sound of an antique music box, the mystery had been solved in the only way possible in a cozy story, with love, a snoring dog, and a secured future. The admirer had a hidden agenda, yes. But his agenda was fatherly love, and Gabriel's had just begun. And case closed. The mystery of the red bow ended up being the sweetest gift in history. If you like this mix of suspense, romance, and expensive teas, give a huge like to this video. Did you expect it to be Mr. Abernethy? Or did you suspect Gabriel like Sophie did? I want to read your theories in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because in the next video we are going to investigate a mystery in a haunted bookstore. Until next time, love detectives.